is up, everyone? Today we have a generator. I mean, particularly it's a pulsar. Don't really know if I know of this one per se, but it's pretty standard to all your other ones. It's just 3500. So 208 cc, so that's probably like 6 horsepower to 6.5. So it's actually pretty quiet. It's nice. But the reason why we have it here is we are going to put it away. So this is going to be a video on how to properly put away a generator. Now, I'm sure everyone has their own ideas of what needs to be done to put away a generator. So this is going to be my version of it. I've been doing this for a few years now, and we go without power for a decent amount of time, and then we'll go like 2 years and we'll not have a single problem. So, you know, it's very sporadic. So, in saying that, I've never had a problem with my personal generator. So, here's the problem with these. Most of the time, you can put non-ethanol fuel in this, and that wasn't, you know, it's a very good idea. Unfortunately, we had a problem when the closest non-ethanol station was also without power, so I'm pretty sure this was ethanol fuel. At least that's what the owner says. So we're going to do a couple things. One, we're going to drain the fuel. 2, change the oil. 3, look at the filter, potentially change it if we need to. 4, look at the spark plug and change it, or at the very least clean it, depending on the age or the condition. This was used not too much, so it shouldn't be too bad. The main thing is just the gas and oil. If you are, now every manual is going to have a different time frame, but if you're getting to the point where you also need to adjust your valves, you should be doing that. I'm not at that point. I'm only about a quarter of the way, so I'm not going to worry about that. I think it said in the manual 50 hours, maybe 100 hours, I don't remember. But this is maybe 20 hours on this, maybe. So at the high end we're halfway there, and the low end we're quarter of the way, a little under a quarter, a fifth of the way. So let's dig in. I think what I did do already is 2 things. 1, I checked the engine speed. It's fine. I mean, it's brand new, so I didn't expect it to be wrong. But it's just a good idea just to check that type of thing. You never know. Maybe it was made on a Friday. No judgment. So all that's fine. I did run it for about 5 to 10 minutes beforehand, about 5 to 10 minutes ago. So the oil should be plenty warm, and it should be able to be changed pretty easily. So let's go ahead and get that one done while it's still warm. The good news for me is I can put like a bread pan or something underneath there, and it's not touching anything. We have just enough clearance. The bad thing is that is going to be spilling all over, and I would rather not have to clean this up as much as possible. So what I'm doing is I took a piece of cardboard. It has tape on it. It's like a package of some sort. I'm going to just kind of hold it here in hopes that it gathers almost all of it. The good news is that this is a 10mm nut, so it's pretty easy to take off. Okay. Now, can open this up a little bit and just kind of help it flow. I think it's doing okay now. You can use a pump. You can, I mean, I guess if you really want to, even tip it over and just drain it out through the through there. But I like to use this. This is the lowest point, and it's just a lot more efficient. I could probably even let it run a little bit longer, but the oil wasn't that dirty to begin with. But I think this person just wants to be prepared, because who knows, maybe next time he has to use it for 100 hours, or has to use it for 100 hours. So we don't know what happens. That's kind of my point in this whole thing too. Just because your generator oil looks okay doesn't mean you still shouldn't change it, unless you literally just changed it a few hours prior, especially if it's new. Like this, I would say this is even considered break-in oil. Your manual will give you a full and complete time frame, but most of the time they will recommend you change it pretty shortly after you first start it. Maybe a couple hours, very little time. So it's good that we're doing this anyway, and that way next time, even if he does have to run it for an hour, 100 hours, he's already past that break-in period. So I'm going to finish this, we'll put more in. Considering this is the first oil change, I'm going to let that sit a little longer than I usually would. I mean, it's still a small amount just trickling out, but I want to get all of it as much as I can. If you have extra oil, you could even just put in a little bit. Ugh. It's not good. Get a towel. Oh, okay, good. That is just... What is that? I don't know. It's just old gasoline. And oil. Okay, so that makes sense. These you do want to add a dab of oil. See that? It's actually good. I was hoping I'd see that. We might even want to put a little more in there. So these are just sponges. You're not really going to see a whole lot of anything else. Sometimes you get paper ones, but with this style, a lot of time it's just a big sponge. But this sponge needs oil to help pick up the smaller particles. But other than that, it's completely fine. So I'm okay with this. Let's put this back in. That's good. That was scary. It's not oil there. I thought maybe it was tipped on its side or something, and I don't know. Okay, so now that we have air marked off our list, let's look at spark next. Took the plug out, and I would say it's running pretty good. Maybe a touch on the lean side. I don't like the fact it's this LG brand though. I'm gonna see if I have another one, but other than that, it's not bad. The replacement for the... Now here's the funny part. I was looking at the manual. The manual legitimately says a BPR60S, which is a pretty standard Honda plug. Or the equivalent Champion, which I forget exactly what the numbers were. That is neither of these. This is LG. So the manual says you have to spend more money on it, but then they give you some cheap plug. Like I said, I'm going to change this just because, I mean, it's a good plug right now. If it was not this brand, I've just had really bad luck with this. Just failing, the insulating goes away, or it's just a bad plug. So I'm going to go ahead and change this out, and we'll put a new good NGK in there, and we should be ready to go to fuel. So for easier viewing, I took off the little cover here. And let's see if I can just take off. Where's that? Where's my other set of pliers? Oh, there we are. Kind of in the way. You probably wouldn't have to go through this, but just for the sake of the video. Oh man, this is not going to be an easy one, is it? They put the clip around it first. There we go. Okay. So like I said, the easiest way, and now the fuel is off, but it's probably going to spill a little bit because there's some in the line anyway. Get off there. You know, when you're not watching, this usually goes a lot smoother. But it's okay. I'll put my struggles on the internet. Okay, but I do need you to step aside a little bit here. I might end up having to replace this fuel line. As far as the age of it, it's kind of nasty. So now I'm going to drain the fuel into an empty gas can just by turning it on until it runs out. So I'm going to do that and then put a new fuel line on there. I'll be right back. Okay, so it's draining. I put a new fuel line on there. I would say a better fuel line. Okay, let's just take a look at this. This is new. I don't know. It was pretty nasty. Doesn't feel good either. So I'm gonna put a new fuel line. These clips are too small for the new line anyway, so we have a new clip. And after it's done draining, we'll finish the rest of it up. Something to kind of go with this fuel line. I mean, that fuel line would work. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, a generator isn't like a weed eater where if you can't use it, you're not going to, you know, freeze or your food goes bad or something. A generator is an important thing. So if you see anything out of the ordinary, like we saw that cheap LG plug, just take care of it now. You'll thank yourself in the future. So that's why I really want to drive stuff like this home. I think we're almost out of fuel. There wasn't much in there. Yeah, I'll bob it around a little bit, see if I can get more, but I think that's pretty much done. So I put the plug back in. We're gonna do a little oil. Now, I'm assuming this is gonna take like 12 ounces, 500 milliliters, something like that, 16, whatever that is. For these style of engines, I like the milliliter one just because it's well, the person that made it was using milliliters, so let's just put it that way. All this half, well, it was like a third, a little over a third full container. Let's check it. Oh, yeah, it's full. It's dripping out full. Okay, good. So, yeah, this one took... Maybe it was a half. But let us go ahead and plug this up. Just take out some of the excess. It's bad to have not enough, but if you have an ounce or two little extra in there, that's not that big of a problem. Ounce or two, not like a gallon or two or the whole container. That's something you do not want to do. So we're going to clean this up real quick. Now we're going to work on the final bit of fuel. Okay, we are getting to some cramped quarters and it's still not done draining. It's like the third one I'm working on. I know there's 3 gallons in there. Didn't seem like it. I think we're getting to the home stretch though. Anyway, so some carbs will have this drain bolt here. It's usually on the side. I don't like using that just because it's usually really hard to get off. But then the bottom one, all you really have to do is crack it open. Now, you don't have to take it off. Just put like a container on the bottom. It's another good reason why I like taking the plate off. I can move the carb back and forth a little bit. If you do, make sure your linkages are still good to go. But crack it. Now this is what I'm saying, it's going to be a little hard for us to see, so hopefully you're both able to. Uh-oh. Okay, good. Maybe not. No, it's just not finger loose yet. Nope, still not finger loose yet. What this is going to do is going to drain all the fuel out of the bottom of the carburetor. There we go. If you hold it up, it gives the passage for it to go. And like I said, it's not connected. So all that fuel would have just been in the carb. And the side ones won't get all the fuel. It won't. So I'm going to tighten this back up, put the fuel line on. That should be about it. Let's see, how much more do we have to go? It's still going. It's about half full now. But yeah, that's probably the end of this. I need to show this is how you end up putting away your generator. Now this is not specific to only this one. The only other thing I would say after this is done draining, which I hope is done by tomorrow. I hope. I'm going to take my air compressor and blow in the tank just to dry it out. If it was an older one or you potentially had rust problems in the future, it would probably be better if we actually leave it full. It would be best to leave it full of non-ethanol one and non-ethanol fuel, excuse me, and like every 6 months go through this draining process and put the old fuel in like your gas can for like a, your lawnmower or something. The gas will actually help protect it from rusting over, especially the non-ethanol, because then it won't sweat, there will be no water, it can't really rust if there's no oxygen or water. So on this one though, I'm not too worried. It's a brand new tank. So that's going to be the end of this video. Everything else should be pretty normal. Like I said, if you see anything out of the ordinary, change it, repair it now. So let's review. We completely emptied the carburetor, not just turned it off or let it run with the fuel off. We completely emptied the carb, emptied the tank. We changed the spark plug. That's not necessary not necessary all the times, but it's a good practice. New oil, especially if it's the newer generators, you want to get that old oil out, especially because it's probably breaking oil. And everything should be ready to go from there. If it wasn't new, maybe you would want to look at the pull cord, see if you need to change it or not change. Yeah, if it's frayed, you would want to change it, but make sure it's free moving and doesn't get stuck. If it is, you might want to take off that recoil and give it some love. The only other items that you would really need to do is just, like I said, check the power. I already did that. That's fine. I have videos on that. I'm not going to worry about it on this one. This is just how to put it away. And the valves, but like I said, we're not there yet. Read your manual on how to do that. I have videos on how to adjust valves, so keep an eye out for those. And other than that, that's really about it. General wiping, if it's dirty, would be good, just because you don't want to have to pick it up in 2 years or a year when it's even dirtier than it was when you put it away. Then maybe that could just cause problems. So try to clean it up a little bit. If you can't even get a cover. Okay, well, this is how you put away a generator. This is how I do it. I've had no problems, so I hope you don't either. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in below. If you like what you see, put a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. I'll be doing most definitely more videos, and I will keep posting. So have a good night. Catch you on the next one.